Welcome. You two would know each other down the years, have met here and there?
Yeah, we've Munster, so we're tight. We don't need to know each other all that well, but there's a bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time we met.
Don't, please. I remember it, and I'm embarrassed over it. And it's the elephant in the room that we didn't talk about earlier.
Excellent. Well, let's do it on TV. Talk.
No.
Donncha just didn't feel like he wanted or allowed his daughters to play rugby on national media. So we met him a couple of days afterwards, and he got a good shoeing from the Munster women's team for it.
Yeah, it was an awful moment. I was on Today FM with Ray Darcy, and he said, will your girls play rugby? And I said, oh, good God, no. And the next Tuesday, I run into the whole Munster women's team who were like, oh, cheers, pal. But I'm protective of my kids. Like, I'm the fella that tugs them out, like, you know, in sleeping bags when they're going out on their scooters. It's just, I can't see them doing anything that would hurt them. So, like, boxing or anything. Like, I want them to have their heroes, like Niamh and Katie Taylor, and people to aspire to, but I want them to be golfers. And even, for me, like, even tennis is a bit rough. You know that way? Like, it's just, they're all, mind them.
Talk to us about the win over the weekend, and maybe sum up the Six Nations first. What's your read on this campaign?
Yeah, I think it's just been a disappointing 30 minutes against Scotland, and that really has cost us. Like, I honestly feel we were unlucky against Wales. I think if a different referee, 100% that's a penalty for Robbie's entry, but you see it in so many other games, things that go on within mauls that never get pulled up. And
I think the win was brilliant the weekend. I think the Six Nations overall, they'll be disappointed with, you know, the fact that they didn't win it, because that's what they want to go and win every game. But I think that they'll take a huge amount of courage from the tight situations that they found themselves in and were able to get out of it again, rather than, you know, it would have been easy not to turn up against England after the Wales performance.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, we bat above ourselves. For the playing pool we have, when you consider France, 14 teams, England, 12 teams, we've 4 provinces. That's all we have in depth, and we do an incredible job.
Your body isn't great, Nick. You were supporters...
Watch him.
You were a supporters player of the year last season. You just got player of the month, I was reading.
Yeah.
And you're 37, 38 years old now?
Yeah.
You said one of the reasons you went to Worcester was because you were starting to fall out of the Munster team. I think you said the first time you cried in a dressing room was late on in your life when you were a sub for Munster. Just the realisation it was over. And you said, I left because I didn't want to I had too many good days to become resentful and bitter and hanging around Munster that way.
And that's exactly it. I love Munster so much. I love playing with Ireland so much. I knew if I did another year, I would turn into one of these energy-sapping, bitching, moaning, and
sulking.
I love the place too much for that to be the case. So I still had massive drive to play. I still believe I could. So I'll be honest, I didn't, for me, it would have been beautiful to play my whole career with Munster, but I love rugby too much not to tug out, and for it to go that way would have been tough.
I thought it was terrible that, you know, the first time you cry in a dressing room was in your mid to late 30s when you've been left out of the team. Like,
some of our fellas cry in the dressing room every 10 seconds. Like, honestly, is your dressing room like that? Ours is a wreck. Fellas just bawling, John Hayes, any chance, like, put on a Disney movie, poor Simba, you know, you're just like, give us a break, lads. So I'm in touch with my emotions, and I'd like to think that I was only sad once in a Munster dressing room.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Can I ask you then one final thing, because it's such a special place, and non-Munster people can scoff about Munster, but I know you were a Munster fan growing up, and I was talking to Jerry Flannery on News Talk last week, and he was remembering the Glasgow game, which was the day after Anthony Foley's funeral, and he was telling us about a text that you sent him apologising for going into the dressing room after the game, but you said, I just had to go in and thank the players.
Yeah, and you're embarrassing me. Yeah, that was exactly it. I went to that match and it was medicine. I would have done anything to play in that game, and so would Dennis Leamy, John Kelly, any of those guys. It was such a big emotional week, And the only thing that galvanised and brought us all together was that match. And you felt so nervous for that group of lads. And then how they went out and reflected the whole lot of us, I actually was bursting with pride. And after the match, I don't know what happened. I just ended up in the dressing room, and I remember just hugging guys and just thanking them. And afterwards, I was embarrassed. I was there, what are you doing, man? You know, but it was just...
Why, it's just not the done thing for you to be anywhere?
No, it's just, like, that was their special time. I'm out of the room now, you know, like, it's for them. But I think for me, it was, as a Munster man, just to go in there and thank them for reflecting us like that, because I know those guys. I've played with them so long. They get so... Well, thankfully now they're getting the recognition they deserve, but... You know, they've been burdened for so long by maybe a legacy of another team, which is unfair.